Hey guys, Asher Rachel Legends. Welcome to the video. Send some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need them out there today. You notice how in the beginning of my videos, I'm like I'm walking in place here, guys, just doing some exercises. No big deal. Today, we're going to go through the top 20 champions added in Raid Shadow Legends so far in the year 2025. Stay tuned. It's going to be a banger. All right, guys, I want to start with a couple honorable mentions, and then we'll go right into the top 20 here. Honorable mention, I just want to get some hate right out the gate here. That's what I'm trying to do. If the walking in place intro wasn't enough for you, this will be. Honorable mention to Polara Fireheart. She's a tough champion because I actually really like Polara. Faction Wars, you can say it's overtuned, you can say it's boring, whatever you want to say about Faction Wars hard. Either way, the fact that when you get her, she's so hard to get, right? There's like, 77 reviews on her right now. But I really like her. I'm not going to get into her kit and why I like her, but I think she's unique. I think she's really, really cool. However, I do think she still needs a buff. She needs to be Lydia-like at the time that you get her, and she's certainly far from that in terms of the impact she can make on your account. That being said, she's interesting. The intercepts, the freeze, the revives, the damage, the ignore block damage. So shout out, honorable to Jorad Wolfheart as well. After the buff, he's certainly a lot better, but I don't think they nailed the buff, unfortunately, either. That being said, I don't have him, but honorable mention. All right, so 2 mythical honorables to get things started here. Just FYI, there was 50, 60 champions out of this year. And talk about power creep. There were so many good ones, and honestly, I was originally going to make this list a top 10 and then a top 15. And then I had to make it top 20 because there's so many good tons of really good champions off the list. It's bonkers power creep in this game. So there's only one tie on the list, and it's right here, and they're both dwarves, and they're both fusions too. Granite Doorkeep at number 20. Tied with Tholen Foulbeard. Honestly, I could not decide between these two champions. My impression is a lot more of the community went for Tholen Foulbeard than they did on Granite. However, I gotta be real with you guys too. I think I'd probably give the slight edge on Granite just because he has the shatter. He's a little bit more unique. That being said, I think that Tholen, the community might vote Tholen, right? Because having that AoE weaken on the A1, 50% chance, 75% chance if it's against a boss, that is so good. Plus all the damage, plus that passive, right? Plus no one can land a critical hit on him as well. I mean, that's nuts. That's nuts. So Tholen and Granite, both really solid. I would say kind of like, I don't know, both in the A category dwarves, honestly. Even Granite Doorkeep, I know a lot of people hated this fusion. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I really think he's solid. He's solid. He's not like going to change your account forever type champion, but he's really cool. At the end of this champion's turn, he removes CC debuffs. Really, really cool, so he can't be CC'd. Increases champions' damage inflicted with targets with no buffs on them by 20% extra damage that you get there. His damage is not sky high. That's what keeps him at number 20, unfortunately. His damage, honestly, is quite less, in my experience, than Tholen Foulbeard. But I do think he might add a little bit more in extra utility. So there it is, tie at number 20. At number 19 on the list, I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm putting a free champion on my top 20. This is not a snub at Mikey. This is incredible, I should say. Michelangelo, you all have Mikey, as long as you've been logging in and playing. And I think this dude is really freaking good. He made the list over so many champions. I could just give you a little laundry list of all the champions that I could have made a top 30 or even top 40, and they all would have been solid. But Mikey's really unique, and he's really good. I love that he has the taunt for areas like Phantom Shogun Grove. I love that he has a lot of damage, especially for a free champion. I mean, forget the free champion crap. He does a lot of damage, period, right? This A2 is really cool. He's got the decreased defense with a debuff spread as well. Deals a lot of damage. He has the stun as well. Can't spread the stun. You guys already know that by now. But man, he brings his own increased attack as well on his A1. He's got the evade thing going on, the party dude passive. I think that Mikey is a really, really solid and maybe even underrated free champion in the game. At number 18 on the list is going to be a unity that I don't have. It's Tatsuya the Deliverer. The Deliverer. Like the Slither that's going to be coming up pretty soon as well. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on all these unities because odds are you don't have them, right? I mean, they're so hard to get. But he's really good. He's got reset cooldown the skills, a lot of damage on the A2. He's got another single target on the A3, but it is a steel turn meter, True Fear 2 turns as well. It can't be resisted or blocked with one faction ally on the team. He definitely gets a lot better. You can say this about every unity, but especially on Tetsuya. He gets a lot better if he has at least 1 or 2 Shadowkin on the team. That's what keeps him lower on the list compared to some of the other unities that we do have on this list. He has Turn Meter whenever an enemy champion takes a turn, which is really, to me, the passive is the highlight of his kit, along with all the faction passives that we get on him as a unity as well. At number 17 on the list is gonna be, well, I just told you she was coming. Here she is. It's Preva, the Slitherer. The Slitherer. Honestly, Preva, I don't have her either, but she's a lot better than I gave her credit for, honestly, after taking a longer look at her list or area rankings and stuff like that. She's a solid champion. Speed in all battles on the aura, 20%. She's nice and fast at 110 base speed. She's got a heal at increased defense and an increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown. Great ability here. She has a transfer debuffs on her A1. Can't be resisted if she's under 3 or more debuffs. Really nice addition there. And then she has a Seed of Corruption. It's a really solid 4-turn cooldown, single target revive with 100% HP, 50% turn meter, and a full skill cooldown reset. At the start of this champion's turn, she transfers a debuff from each ally to this champion. I like moves like this because then she can go in and boom, transfer them all to the enemy, right? She's going to have a lot of debuffs because of the passive. She soaks them up from the allies, the CC debuffs at least, right? So hopefully if she has a few on her, she can't even be resisted. You can transfer them onto the target. At the end of her turn, she fills a turn meter of all allies by 10%, an additional 2% for each debuff on this champion. Really interesting kit here. I definitely underrated Preva the Slitherer. All right, next at number 16. Don't worry, we're going to get through the unities and then we'll be smooth sailing, okay? So we have another unity that I don't have, Kaleth, Losan Kaleth. He's one of my most wanted unities because I love Knight's Revenant so much, and he has such a cool and very unique kit. He's a defense-based champion. He's got the HP equalization and the turn meter equalization. That's nuts. It's unique. It's a long cooldown, though. 7 booked down to 5. And then he has a lot of faction unity bonuses that obviously stack very, very well. Every time this champion loses 25% or more from a single hit, he places a block damage on him, right? You can also do the True Fear, can't be resisted, ignore enemy defense by this champion, are decreased by 100%. Basically, he turns into this like unkillable behemoth, right? When attacked on 3 faction allies, has a 20% chance of activating an instant turn effect on this champion. Occurs once per skill. Man, it's like instant turns. Granted, that's with all Knight's Revenant, but man, what a fun and what a cool looking unity here in Losan Kaleth. At number 15 on the list, guys, is going to be, the little bug. The little bug! It's gonna be Chalco the Blind, finally a champion that I do have on the list. Listen, this guy he's really solid. He's really solid, right? He's got an AoE increased accuracy, which, you know, lessens the necessity to load him up with accuracy because you want him to be kind of a damage dealer and a control, all kind of into one. He does have kind of a little bit of Whispers of Carnage in his kit on his base form a bit. Either way, very cool, very unique. He has buff, basically reduction here by 2 turns with the decreased speed, makes him susceptible to polymorph, of course, but I love that he brings the increased accuracy. It's a 3-turn cooldown. The unique part of his kit is the A2 and the passive. His A2 is block passive skills and a decreased defense with a debuff spread. Of course, we can spread block passive skills along with that decreased defense. Very, very, very strong because we're taking all debuffs and sending them to all enemies. That's great. That's a great ability here. But what makes him even better is the Bottomless Maw. He's immune to CC debuffs whenever he gets attempted to put when someone attempts to put a CC debuff on him, like a Armand's or whoever the heck, right? He's instantly going to activate that A2 ability, the Inducer of Panic, right? Thus, hopefully, you know, blocking their passive skills as well. Really, really strong kit. Very unique, cool looking champion too, if you ask me. Number 14 is going to be, another unity. It's Blade Chorister Kaldor. Man, this guy, listen, we can go through his entire kit. He's really strong, especially when you start adding in the Sylvan Watchers, which is incredibly strong. The newest faction, obviously, still at the time of this recording in the game. Man, he's got a cool passive. Will ignore 50% of the target's defense when attacking while under a Veil or Perfect Veil. He's all about continuous heals, though, right? And you can read on and check that all out. But I think the A2 is worth taking a quick look at because there's a lot of words on the screen, but holy mackerel, you put them all together, It's nuts. It's nuts. I don't have them, but boy, do I wish I did. Orchestra of War. Select a target, enemy or an ally, and the target's an enemy. Decrease the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Place a poison debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. An additional poison for 2 turns for each continuous heal on this champion. Okay? These debuffs cannot be resisted. Then we instantly activate a tick of all poison debuffs on all enemies. If the target is an ally, increase the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Instantly activates 1 tick of all continuous heal buffs on all allies. Place a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns. Place a continuous heal on this champion for 2 turns. Another continuous heal for each ally alive for 2 turns. Finally, fills the champion's turn meter by 15% for each buff or debuff placed by this skill. Oh my word. I'm not even going to get into the A3 and the passive, but he's such a cool kit. Poisons, continuous heals, activations of both. He's nuts, man. He can deal some damage too. All right, the last unity on the list is going to be number 13. I think I mean that. The last traditional unity on the list is going to be number 13, and it's another champion that I don't have. It's Admiral Black Tusk. Man, this guy is a beast. He's a beast. Allies will counterattack whenever they lose 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit on his passive. That gets better and better and better. All the way into, at the start of the round, places Stone Skin on all allies for 1 turn. All dwarf team, sign me up. He has the Defender of Skyrron, obviously. 3-turn cooldown, removes all buffs from a target enemy, places a stun buff on them for 2 turn stun. Fill his turn meter by 50%. An additional 10% for each buff removed from the target. The buff removal and stun cannot be resisted on 1. All the way at 3, allies deal double damage to targets under stun debuffs placed by this champion. What I like about him, though, isn't his passive is pretty cool. His A3 is solid, don't get me wrong. But man, this Admiral's orders, not even his unity ability is what I really love about this dude. It's a solid cleanse in an ally attack. He's teaming up. All allies are joining, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, all of them on a simple 3-turn cooldown. Very, very good. Since he's joining the attack, well, he's going to place a stun at 60% chance. And guess what? It can't be resisted when he's attacking out of his active turn. Pretty solid when you put it all together. Very, very cool unity champion in the dwarves. Number 12. To me, this is where we're taking maybe a little bit of a step up, right? Like so far, everybody's A+ tier, right? Like it's hard to argue that. Maybe even better on some of those. But now we're going to go, I think, to, maybe low S tier. At number 12, we have an orc. Still the worst faction in the game. You got a lot of you guys say Ogryn Tribe. They're neck and neck. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be Packmaster's Little Hound in Krokad the Throat Ripper. Krokad, man, listen. The reason he's at number 12, because I flirted with putting him top 10, but he is fairly predicated on having Packmaster on your account as well. That being said, man, he is insane. The damage that he puts out is just absolute next level damage. I think he's fantastic. That being said, he's a bit one-dimensional. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He has a leech and a weaken on an AoE, which is really solid. Can't be resisted if Packmaster's on the same team. But other than that, he's just a damage dealer. But he's a freaking amazing one. Amazing one, especially in Hydra. I use him on one of my main Hydra teams on my account. Love Krokad. At number 11, another fusion. It's cool to see this many fusions on the list, honestly, guys. At number 11, this is one that I'm still mad at myself for not going for. I actually went for him, but I missed it. It's Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter at number 11. So we're going earlier in the year here of 2025. He's fast. He's tanky. He's a healer, right? Every 10 turns taken by allies, heals all allies by 20% of their max HP. Every 6 turns by enemies, a true fear on all enemies. What a nasty freaking passive there, right? He's got the debuff spread on his A1. He's got stealing buffs on his A1. He's got an AoE hex and weaken, and the ally with the highest crit damage will join the freaking attack. Increased duration of buffs, decreased duration of debuffs, turn meter fill on a 3-turn cooldown. Am I crazy for putting him at number 11? Golly, Mad Hatter is busted. And I'm sitting on a 6-star freaking soul for this dude. Oh, nothing's worse than having a 6-star soul for a champion that you really want, but you just can't get him. I shouldn't say nothing's worse. It's better to have it than to not have it, but you guys get my point here. I'm staring at that soul every day. I'm like, oh, Mad Hatter, Mad Hatter. Okay, anyway, number 10 on the list. We're moving into top 10 territory, boys and girls, with Balaar the Lost. Balaar the Lost is a tough to grade champion because he's a poison combustor, so he is fairly niche. You can only use him where you can use poisons. But when we're talking speed runs, we're talking even in the arena, this guy is really freaking good. He might be second best poisoner to Nell in PvP. Maybe Calvalax, obviously, too, quite different, you know, in terms of how they work. But either way, he's really freaking good. He's got an AoE leech with poison activation. People use this dude in Chimera as well. He's got shield on his A1, poison sensitivity on his A1. He's got an increased accuracy on all allies, a decreased resistance on all enemies. 3 poisons on the initial target, and the attack is critical. 3 poisons for 2 turns on everybody on a 3-turn cooldown where he can come in there and leech him and activate all the poisons, increases champion's defense, ignore defense effect, by 1% for each poison debuff instantly activated by this champion, so you can get 20% extra ignore defense, fills his champion's turn meter at 5% whenever a poison debuff is placed on an enemy. This dude is like Eleanor and Xavier updated for 2025, you know? He's like the new class of poison combustors, and man, he looks freaking amazing as well. Balaar the Lost. All right, number 9. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but number 9 is the last mythical on our list. That's it. All right, number 9 is going to be Theodosia the Disgraced. I every time I talk about her, because I do get blowback whenever I show love to Theodosia. People don't like Theodosia for some reason. I really freaking like her. I think she's incredible. Coming in at number 9, she's got a 115 base speed, super fast, super tanky. You gotta love it, right? She's got heals. She's got a cleanse. She's got a perfect veil on a 3-turn cooldown for 2-turn duration, a stone skin on herself. Sign me up. She's got an AoE revive. She's got a 50-50 AoE revive on a 4-turn cooldown, unkillable on all allies at the same time. Every 7 turns equalize the HP of all allies. Well, allies receive 1% less damage for every 2% HP lost. Come on, we're only on her base form. Speed in all battles by 25%. She's got a steal all buffs from all enemies with a block buffs and a decreased defense. On her alternate, she's got a sleep, a decreased speed on all enemies. If their speed is lower than her speed, the decreased speed will be protected. Then decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 25%. She's immune to block active skills. She's got a, she's got a lot. I think she's got a lot going on. I actually have always thought that Theodosia was a very intriguing champion. Certainly not the strongest mythical in the game, but man, I want her. All right, what about you guys? All right, guys, next on the list is going to be, this might be my most controversial choice in the entire video, because he is the lowest ranked on hellhades.com out of any champion that I've shared in the entire video so far. But man, what am I missing? Because I freaking love this dude. Don't have him, but boy, do I freaking want him. Oscarin the Defiler. Check out his kit, guys. You tell me. 109 base speed, fast, right? Speed in arena battles, 28%. Fantastic. Attacks 1 enemy. 50, making a 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random active skill on the target by 2 turns. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. Already with his A1, we're rocking. Like, this is a really good A1. On his A2, remove all buffs from all enemies, 3-turn cooldown when booked, okay? Decrease the turn meter of all enemies whose turn meter is equal to or lower than 50%. By 20%, okay? Lower than 50% turn meter, they get a 20% reduction. If an enemy's turn meter is more than 50% full, decreases by 50%. Has a 100% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn on enemies whose turn meter was reduced to 50% or below. So, wait a second. A buff removal on a 3-turn cooldown, a decreased turn meter by 20 or 50%, and then if it's below 50%, which is not very high threshold to clear here, you get a stun? All on a 3-turn cooldown? But wait, he's got a freaking ally attack with increased attack and shatter. Dude, am I crazy for having him at 8? This kid's nasty. Teams up with it he joins the attack. So you get his busted A1 with turn meter fill and the cooldown joining in on the freaking attack. All right, then all allies joining the attack will use the default skills before attacking, increase attack and a shatter on everybody. Decrease the cooldown of all allies' active skills, except this champion by 1 turn if the target is killed. What? All right, Dark Whisperings. Allies inflict 20% more damage against enemies under stun. Whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates the Magic of Irith skill. That is the A2 ability. What? Dude, this guy's nuts. This guy's nuts. Man, I almost feel like I should put him higher, but I don't know. Everybody else from here on out is insanely good. Number 7 on the list is going to be, surprise, surprise, another champion I don't have. I feel like I'm in my own YouTube comments. Oh yeah, another champion I don't have. Thanks a lot, Ash. Queen of Hearts at number 7 on the list. Oh, I want Queen of Hearts so bad. She is so busted. She has also one of the best ally attacks in the game. Honestly, Oscaron, you could put him up there. I think you can make an argument that he might have the second best ally attack. I don't know, because he brings the shatter and the increased attack on everybody as well. Queen of Hearts brings just the increased attack, but still a freaking amazing ability. She also decreases the cooldown of this champion's off with their heads if the target is killed. Off with the heads is buff removal with a death brand, which can block their revive if they die with the debuff on. Plays a true fear on all enemies as well. And then on the A1, she's got a freaking AoE decreased defense, big version on her A1 with turn meter fill of all allies by 5%. Now that I think of it though, there are a lot of similarities between her and Oscar, right? But her passive is what puts her over the top, right? For every 10 buffs in the enemy team receives, grants this champion an extra turn. That's nuts. Or an instant turn is what they should put instead of an extra turn, right? Extra turn is kind of like convoluted. What do you mean extra turn? Extra, she didn't even take a turn yet, Instant turn, boom, she goes, she cuts in line, she removes your buffs, she death brands you, she true fears you, right? 5% turn meter fill again for each buff removed by this skill. Or if there are no buffs, of course there's going to be buffs. She just got a turn, Ash. But she gets the ally attack after that, man. Beautiful synergy on her kit. I love Queen of Hearts. Coming in at number 6 on the list. Whew. Man, this is hard. This is hard, guys. But I'm going to put my guy, Fabian, Lord Entertainer Fabian. Next on the list, man. Fabian really changed the game, man. Fabian really, he's right up there with freaking Night Queen Crixia, like a solid freaking good mythical champion in terms of how good he is, how much of a game changer he was, and he's a hell of a lot more accessible than a Crixia. He's got the cooldown and decreased duration of all enemy skills. Where the heck is this? By 3 turns, and the buffs by 3 turns on the same freaking ability. It's beautiful. It's polymorph proof as well. Ooh, that's good, which is good because everything else in his kit is polymorph heaven, right? He's got the petrification. He's got the true fear everywhere. He instantly activates that skill. It activates a skill whenever an enemy under a fear or true fear successfully uses a skill. He's activating more fears and petrifications and baloney, right? He's got the A1 where he's stealing turn meter, not just depleting, he's stealing it. He's just stealing it. He's got speed in all battles, and he's got Ghost with the most. One of the most annoying passives in the game to go against. I love revivers, right? I'm reviver heavy on my squads. And man, having to deal with all those true fears is ridiculous. But just to add even more insult to injury, he's removing CC debuffs from himself at the start of his turn. Unbelievable. Lord Entertainer Fabian is definitely one of the most used PvP champions. He's still solid in PvE against wave content and stuff like that. I will say that the reason he's 6 and not maybe 3 is because he's, I think he's SSS tier PvP, but then there is quite a fall off when you go to PvE. Not that he can't be used, but you guys get my point. Number 5 on the list is going to be Naime, Spear of Nyresa. Listen, talk about a champion who's just absolutely changed the game in every aspect of PvP. She is one of the most wanted champions by so many players out there because of what she can do in the arena. But to be fair, her kit actually lends itself beautifully to progression and support in PvE as well. So she has an A1 that is actually really solid. Decrease attack, decrease crit rate on a target. It has a 50 or 75% chance that it can't be resisted or blocked either, right, by block debuffs. So you can neutralize their biggest damage dealer, their attack-based damage dealer, right, on the enemy team with her A1, and it might not even be able to be resisted. She has a beautiful, huge shield with some big damage on her A2 Cerulean Guard. On her A3, she has this massive heal based on her defense, and then a block debuffs and an ally protection on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. It makes her one of the best ally protectors in the game because of her passive. Place a block damage on all allies at the start of the round. So in the arena, everybody runs her in protection. So you've got a freaking block damage that you can't get rid of. Psh, super strong. It counters basically everybody, right, in the meta. Well, I guess except for, the ignore block damage champions, the Rhodoses and the, the conditional Gizmax and Polera for that matter, right? By the way, guys, apropos of nothing, I bought this Boom Boom stick. This is not a sponsored video. And I accidentally wiped my eyes before the video. This is like a nasal blocker thing. It just smells like very minty. So I did this before that because I've been like hooked on these stupid things, right? Afrins, you know? Never do this. And like in my late 30s, I just randomly was like, hey, this seems like a good idea. And now I'm hooked on these stupid nasal things like I'm a fiend or something like over here. Anyway, I'm trying to get off the Afrin, trying to get on the nasal stick. And I rubbed my eyes and now it's like burning. I feel like I've been crying the entire video. I apologize if you noticed. You probably haven't. All right. Block damage at the start of the turn and every time this champion's HP drops below 50%. Ergo, even if you're not attacking her, because of her ally protection, her damage is going to be dropping below 50%, and then everybody gets more protected block damages where she can come back and heal them again, or put shields, massive shields on them. It's nuts. Also, if you kill somebody, it reduces the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns on that A2 that can hit hard. Oh man, she's really insane. She comes in at number 5. Number 4 on the list is going to be, I struggle with the top 5 here, guys. But number 4 is going to be, where are you? Donnie the Lizardman. Some people might think this is too high. Some people might think this is too low. I think it's just right. Goldilocks zone for Donatello. Donnie, I've said it before. I think this guy is really a game changer fusion, an incredible fusion. He's the high. I take that back. He might be the highest on the list. He might not be. But he's fan-frickin-tastic, right? And he has versatility that you could say maybe the other 3 champions don't have, the 3 above him on the list. So he scores huge points in versatility, can be used pretty much everywhere. He's got a great heal on his A1 activation, continuous heal on all allies as well. Very solid A1. It's the Bodacious Bash on his A2. 4-turn cooldown, which makes sense given how powerful this ability is. Decrease the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns. That's busted. He brings in increased speed as well. I mean, these decreased cooldown of all ally skills, especially in longer battles, they just make a huge difference that will never show up on the stat sheet, you know? On the A3, he's got a full cleanse with a continuous heal, with a strengthen, with a turn meter fill on a 3-turn cooldown. Beautiful abilities, an elite healer, great turn meter booster, and that A2 is just so good. He also prevents, whenever an ally is about to receive the fatal hit, he prevents that ally's death, keeps them alive, equalizes HP. Beautiful 4-turn cooldown there as well. He's fast, he's tanky. You gotta love Donnie. You gotta love Donnie. All right, number 3. Some people are gonna give me grief on this one. I know it. I know it. We're putting Leonardo in there. Listen, Leo is tough. I mean, well, I'm almost apologizing for putting him top 3 in a year that has the most powerful champions ever released in it, right? So, this is very high. Leo's amazing, right? He's a defense-based damage dealer who also brings so much more to the table, right? He's got this beautiful synergy between the ally protection, the increased defense, but then the unkillable and the counterattack. When he's counterattacking with his A1, he's going to attack 2 targets with ignore defense as well. Stacks up. He's got the AoE that deals a ton of damage, removes all buffs from enemies if this attack kills an enemy, can't be resisted. He's got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Unity as well. The reason I have him at number 3 and not number 2 or 1, because I really struggle with the top 3, is because, well, some of the value of Leo depends on what other Ninja Turtles that you have on your account, right? By the way, obviously not on the list is Raffi. So sorry, the only Ninja Turtle not on the list. That being said, I like Raph a lot, you know? I just think that he's just by a smidgen, just by a hair, my least favorite in the Ninja Turtles. So I would put him top 25, but not top 20. So shout out to Raph. Same thing with Shredder. I'm not a huge fan of Shredder. I don't think he'd be top 25, but I think he's a cool champion, fun champion. April, yeah, she's all right. She's all right. Cool kit, but, I have a video, by the way, a tandem guide on Shredder and April if you want to see my best builds and my total thoughts on both those champions. Okay, so if Leo is number 3, then who the hell is number 2? You might not have even heard of him yet because he's the brand new champion, but I gotta be real. This classic Key-Hulk is absolutely busted, man. Busted. It's weird because there's actually an event right now at the time of this recording for either him or Leo, and it's really close. Since I already have 2 Ninja Turtles alongside, I'll probably still go for Leo and, hope that I can get Classic at some point. But they're very, very close, and he's just insane. Check this out. Attacks 1 enemy, transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target before the attack. Can't be resisted by bosses. The only thing holding Classic down is he's not a PvP champion. Yep. True Fear on 1 turn. It can't be resisted by bosses on his A1. Chimera written all over him. Actually, everything's written all over him. Check out this A2. Seismic Dissonance. 3-turn cooldown when booked. Basically, TLDR, it's 2 hits on all enemies on a 3-turn cooldown. You're placing, stand aside, Venus's, in Lydia's, not really, but he's placing decreased accuracy, decreased resistance, weaken, and decreased defense on a Void Affinity champion, all on 1 3-turn cooldown. What? As if that wasn't enough. He's bringing counterattack and unkillable on all allies for 2 turns. What? So now we get an AoE counterattack and unkillable for 2-turn duration, a taunt on this champion for 2 turns. If a boss is present, these buffs are all protected. So you can't have stupid mischief and baloney stealing your counterattacks. Oh man, that's so busted. Drone of Agony, as if so the kit is already, I would say, I don't know, personally, I think it's probably top 5 without the passive. The passive is what puts everything just sky high because it turns him into elite damage dealer as well, even beyond the damage that he does on the A2. Whenever this champion places a debuff on an enemy, deals damage equal to 1% of their max HP for each debuff they are currently under. So you can do a full max HP just by placing debuffs. No cooldown. Once per skill, once per target. There you go. Wow. Just add that to the escalating damage, the counterattacks as well. Oh man, counterattack, and then he's transferring debuffs on all of his counterattacks as well. Whew, he's a nasty, nasty, nasty big boy. All right, number 1. I actually thought maybe I wouldn't put Tidus as number 1 because here's the thing about Tidus, right? Tidus Blackplume, if you actually look at his reviews, they're bad, right, in game. And I can totally understand why. I'll tell you why I put him at number 1 first. I put him at number 1 because no champion in 2025 so far here has had a bigger impact on, the game in terms of how they change PvE, right? Every best team in all clan bosses are Tidus teams. Moreover, every best team in a bunch of different areas of the game are Tidus teams as well. The downside on Tidus, though, is that he requires a setup, right? You need Wixwell. Moreover, you need good gear. You need solid blessings. You need a lot for the setup on Tidus. That's why I was really on the fence. But at the end of the day, he took a Trunda team and he quadrupled the damage more, The best teams, how high Tidus teams are compared to the best teams in a number of different areas from, the most important areas of the game, I just had to give it to Tidus. He's made such a profound impact on my account personally that, obviously I'm biased, but I also understand people who maybe fuse Tidus that don't have Wixwell or just don't have enough buff extenders or enough pieces. That being said, I do think that there are probably combinations that every player who has Tidus and Wixwell can find to make a new best team on their account. They're not all going to be world beaters, the best team ever existed, but I think that you can find a really, really solid combo on any account if you have Vault Keeper Wixwell. But, I don't know, I penalized Crocad for having to be with Packmaster Shayak, but still, I couldn't forgive the double negative, but I couldn't not put Tidus Blackplume as number 1 because he just absolutely changed everything about PvP in Raid Shadow Legends this year. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? Who did I snub? Maybe Esme? There was actually a few that were really borderline. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much for watching either way. These videos are a lot of fun to do. It gives me an excuse to talk about some of the most powerful champions in the entire game. Appreciate you guys watching. And as always, take care, guys.